So how do you make a grass brush in Procreate? Well, it's not as difficult as it may seem, and it doesn't take too long. So the first thing we'll do is go up here to the top right and tap on the plus icon to bring up the new canvas menu. And from here, we can tap on the two gray rectangles at the top right of that to pull open the custom canvas settings. And the only two settings we need to worry about here are the width and the height of the new canvas. So I'll set mine to 3000 by 3000. So that's going to be a perfect square and is big enough to where the resolution will still be good for the shape that we're going to make for the brush. So from here, again, don't worry about any other settings. We'll just tap on create to make the new canvas. So we should make sure we're on layer 1 and make sure we have a black color selected. So I'll just go to the color palette and go to the very bottom left here, then go up to the brush panel, and we can then tap on the painting section of Procreate's brushes and make sure we have the round brush selected. And so we're gonna make one little edit because the default round brush isn't exactly the best for what we wanna do here. So we can just swipe to the left on the round brush and tap on duplicate to make a copy of it, and then tap on the round brush 1, which is our duplicated brush. From here, we'll go down to the Apple Pencil settings on the left side, and where it says flow, we can turn this down all the way to 0%. So now everything that we paint will be completely opaque and we don't have to worry about any transparency or translucency with the paint. And this is just gonna help us get a clean edge for our shape that we're gonna use for the grass brush. All right, and now with our modified brush selected, I'm gonna paint in a grass blade somewhere in the middle of the canvas. So maybe something like this. I'm going for more of a stylized feel, but it doesn't matter too much what style you go for. So if you wanted to feel more realistic, that's completely fine as well. And feel free to get creative with the shape. You can also go up here to the adjustments tab and then go down to liquify. Make sure it's set to push, and you can push and pull around the paint just to kind of help out with the shape. If that's easier than drawing it by hand, you know, you can kind of modify the shape that you've made. And I'll do that here just to clean up the curve. So I'll go to the erase tool as well and set it to the modified round brush that we made, and I'll just use it to clean up some of the edge. If you get messy with it, you can erase some of it out here. But the goal is just to have a clean silhouette that reads well as a grass shape. So we're not using texture or color or anything, so we just really want to make sure that this shape is clearly like grass. And one thing to keep in mind, try not to get too detailed with it. So like I wouldn't, for example, have all these like little cuts in the grass, just these small details like this. I wouldn't do this because keep in mind the grass stamp is going to be small whenever we use it on the grass brush. So you can imagine this would be a lot smaller than what we see here, and those little details are going to just get too noisy. So we don't want to get too detailed with it here. Now, of course, if you're going for more of a realistic style, you may want some smaller details, but even in that case, I wouldn't get too detailed with it. But again, do whatever you think looks best. And I don't want the shape to be too straight because I want to have some type of dynamic feel to it. And the way that this brush works, this shape will be repeated often. So having a dynamic curve to it can just help the grass feel more like it's grass. But we could do a straight shape. I guess it doesn't matter too much, depending on which type of grass you want. It's really a preference thing. And then what I'll do is go up to the erase tool and I'll go to the airbrushing section and select the soft brush. And then I'll just erase up into the brush. So I want the bottom of the brush to have a transition, a soft transition into the ground. And what this will do is allow the grass to blend almost seamlessly into the paint that's below it. So it'll just create a nice transition and it won't be like a harsh cutoff at the bottom of the grass. And I'll just refine the shape a little bit more. All right, so now that I have a shape that I think looks good, I will make it a little bigger again since we did remove some of the bottom of the grass there, and center it to the canvas. All right, so now we can move on to the next step, which is to remove the background color. So go up to the layer panel and tap on the checkbox for the background color, and that's gonna remove the background. And this is a really important step because we need this to be a transparent background image for the brush to actually work. So if we leave the background there, the brush is just gonna be a white square, and we don't want that. And so the next thing we can do is go up to the Adjustments tab and tap on the Hue, Saturation, and Brightness sliders and turn the brightness all the way to max, which is going to make our shape that we've made completely white. This is also important because if it's not completely white, then Procreate might have a hard time picking up the shape. So just make sure that it's set to white. From here, we'll go up to the wrench icon, tap on Share, and then make sure we tap on under Share Image, go down to PNG, which is going to give us a transparent background image. So we'll only be able to see the shape that we've made. And tap on Save Image here so we can save it to our device. And now it should be saved to our photos. And now I'll just go back to the gallery here. I'll just make another 3000 by 3000 canvas just to have a place to work so we don't mess up the image that we've made. So now on this new canvas, we can go up here to the brush tab and scroll down to organic brushes. And on the rainforest brush, we're going to make a duplicate of this. And this brush is already set up to be pretty close to what we want in terms of the settings for this grass brush. So we shouldn't have to do too much here. So that's why I'm using this as kind of a template to add our shape to. So we can swipe to the left, tap on duplicate, and now tap on this new rainforest brush that we've made. And on the left side where it says shape, you can tap on shape, and across from shape source at the top there, you can tap on edit. And then we can tap on import at the top right there, import a photo. And it may be hard to see, but the top left one is the most recent photo in our photo gallery. So I'll just tap on that one, which is our shape that we just made. And now we have the grass blade shape in for the shape source of this brush. Now we can tap done at the top right to confirm the changes. So it looks pretty good, but I think we could do a few things to make it look even better. I'll go to the stroke path here on the left side and turn down the spacing a little bit just to group the grass a little bit more. And you can experiment with this and play around with it just to see how it will change how these blades group together and stuff. Same with the stroke jitter. We can turn that down if we want it to be more grouped and linear, or if we want it to be more spread out, we can increase it. Up here, the drawing pad button, we can tap on that and we can clear the drawing pad if you want to make space to have more room to draw. And you can also change the color of the paint as well. So I'll just make it green here just to see what it would look like as grass. And I think that looks pretty good so far. The color dynamic settings down here can be a good way to introduce more color into your brush. So we can change these sliders and increase them here. So like for example, the stamp color jitter hue slider, we can turn that up to add more yellow into the grass blades. And you can increase it to whatever color you want. And if you keep increasing it, it starts to get a little too colorful in my opinion, but it is a good way to just introduce a little bit more color. Same with the saturation. If you want some grass blades to be less saturated and maybe darker, you can change those sliders. And so that's the stamp color jitter. So that's each stamp, like each individual grass blade has a different color. But if you want to change the stroke color jitter, so each time your pencil touches the canvas, right, each stroke has an individual color, you can change that here. And same thing here with the color pressure. It's basically just how hard you press. So if I press very lightly, you can see it's kind of a green, and the harder I press, it gets more of a blue. But so these will be my settings for the colors though. If you want to use these settings, that's fine. If you want to get creative with your own settings, that's great as well. A few other settings here, you can change the pressure size. So if we press very lightly, it's smaller, and the harder we press, the bigger the grass blades get. If you don't like that, you can turn it down here with the pressure size, or if you want more of it, you can turn it up. I'll keep mine somewhere where it was already. And the opacity as well, if you press lightly, it's very transparent, and the harder you press, the more opaque the grass becomes. If you don't like that, then you can turn down the pressure opacity to where it would be completely opaque. All right, and one last thing that I'll do before finishing the brush is go down to About This Brush. And this is where you can put in your name, your signature. But what I'll do is just tap on the Rainforest one up here, and I will just title this brush. I'll just call it Grass Brush. And we can tap on Done, and now our grass brush is saved here. And of course, you can move it around and pull it into a folder that you want. I'll just leave mine right here for now. And let's see how it looks. So we can just select a darker green color and get in some grass. Yeah, and we have some color variety in there from the color dynamics And I think that looks pretty good. And so this can be done with any source shape that you have. So for example, the shape that we made earlier, if we wanted to have maybe like some smaller grass blades coming off the side, or if we wanted a really tall grass blade, we'd even do it with like flowers or like small bushes or something like that. So any shape, if you just follow those steps, you can get a brush that works like that. So as you can see, it's not too complicated. You can really get more complicated with the settings if you want, and really get in there and customize it to be exactly how you want it. But this is really all you need to do to have a pretty unique grass brush. So hopefully this tutorial was helpful. Thanks for watching, and stay creative.